Today let's talk about how to value a building plot, because this is something that Liana and I are doing right at the moment. We're currently looking for a plot that we can build a really nice house on. So first things first, in theory at least, it shouldn't be that difficult to value a building plot, should it? Once you've found a potential site, the first thing you need to do is to work out what you can actually put on that site. So consider what the local area is like, speak to estate agents, architects, etc. You're then going to start by calculating the end value. What is that place going to be worth once it's finished? And be pessimistic with the numbers. Look for really close comparables if you can, speak to estate agents. You're then going to deduct all of your development costs, and as you'll see in a minute, there's quite a few. Lastly, you're going to deduct your desired equity, which is obviously the profit that you want out of the deal. And what's left? Well, that's your offer figure. That's the figure that you're going to be putting forwards. Although, to be really honest with you, I would be tempted to drop that down just a little bit further, maybe bring it down another 5 to 10% and put that number forwards. That way, from a negotiation standpoint, it means that you can be kind of built up or brought back up on that price just a little bit. And perish the thought, they might even go for it. The point that I'm trying to make here really is that you're not going to work with the asking price. You need to go through this process yourself to work out what would you actually pay for this place. What is it worth to you? Kind of disregard what they actually are asking for it, because obviously 9 times out of 10 they're going to want the most amount of money, but you're looking to make a profit out of this. So let's take a slightly closer look at what the development costs side of things should be here. What really do you need to consider? Well, first things first, you need to think about the design services, don't you? So primarily we're talking about architects here, but maybe with a few other sort of more specialist consultants as well. You need to think about the level of specifications that you want to put into this. Is this going to be a kind of a really high-end place with all the bells and whistles, or perish the thought, kind of more lower end, or is it somewhere in between? You need to consider fees. So these are going to be things like planning fees, obviously surveys, maybe investigative work needs to be done on the site, site insurance, any SIL payments, warranties, etc., etc. Believe me, when you start to add them up, there's a lot of fees. You then need to consider, are you using a main contractor to actually manage the site? Or are you going to be, you personally going to be controlling all the various different trades yourself? If you want my honest opinion, unless you've done this before, don't do this. Bring in a main contractor. Believe me, it's worth it in the long run. You may pay a little bit extra, or what you perceive to be a little bit extra, but time has a cost associated to it as well. And if you do it, I perish the thought, you may find it's really going to drag on, which is only going to cost you in the long term, especially if you're sort of borrowing all of the funds to actually do the build. You then need to think about things like, what are the physical build costs themselves going to be? And ideally, you want to base these on actual quotations, although I appreciate if you're just looking at the site for the first time, before actually doing any planning, that's going to be incredibly difficult to do. Especially if you're inexperienced in this regard. You can get some quotations online, you can kind of work out some stuff online, or maybe you've got somebody that you trust that's a qualified builder that can give you an idea, or maybe you can do some sort of costings based on a cost per square metre. Honestly, all of this, the first time you do it, is going to be really rough, and I kind of think to a certain extent you have to just expect that, which brings me on to my last point, which is you need to build in a contingency. And I honestly think you should be building in at least a 5 to 10% contingency. By the way, if you're finding this video helpful, it would just be awesome if you could just click on that like button. It really helps me, if that's okay. And by the way, just before we finish up this video, if I could give you just one tip when it comes to finding a potential building plot, is to look for houses that don't currently have any kind of planning permission on them, or maybe where the owners aren't even aware that they could even get a place on their particular plot. That, in my opinion, is where you're going to find incredible deals. So you're going to be looking for houses with really big back gardens, possibly places where there's rear access to the garden. So maybe you've got a road here and here's the house, and at the back of the house there's another road. Those places can be absolutely amazing. Maybe you're going to be looking for a really small house on a really wide plot. Maybe you're going to be looking for a house that's on a kind of T-junction, where the house is on one road, but there's a side road here that goes down, there's a big long fence that goes on forever. Can you maybe get through that fence and build in the garden? You should then make in my opinion, a direct approach to the owner of that particular site, especially if they're not already on the market. I would personally, I would knock on the doors. I never have any fear in this regard. I just go up and I knock on the doors and I just, drop my body posture and I kind of enter into a conversation with the owner. Or if that really scares the living daylights out of you, of course you would be writing to them. But you're not going to write to them once. You're going to put them onto a database and you are going to be writing to that person on a regular basis, let's say every 6 months, forever. And what I would love you to do is to build up a database of maybe 100 of these different sites. I bet within a relatively small area around where you live, there's at least 100 of these potential sites. If you start writing to these people on a regular basis, honestly, it won't be long before one of them picks up the phone and says, come on then, come on over, have a chat, and that's when you can start to negotiate a really fantastic deal. And by the way, don't worry if you don't have the money. That sounds really weird saying that, but you shouldn't be worried if you don't have the money, because if you can find a place that you can maybe control with an option and then go and get planning permission to actually build on the back garden, let's use that as a typical example, what you can do is to add massive value. And honestly, if you can do that, if you can add massive value in that way, I honestly don't feel that the funding of that particular project is going to be in any way difficult. And by the way, if you find a place where you think you can add real value in this way, why don't you book up a coaching call? If you click here, you can book up a coaching call with me and I will gladly talk you through in a lot more detail exactly how to do these types of deals. Courtesy of the Refurbishment Masterclass, I've got 10 absolutely amazing PDFs that cover a whole load of different tips and tricks when it comes to refurbishing a property. If you would like these completely for free, simply click the link here or in the description box below and I'll send them straight out to you.